Hey guys, we're back with some more Higurashi. Um, Doing a new resolution today, testing it out. It's either this one or the one I did yesterday. By the way, the one I recorded for the last episode for you guys, looks like 100% better, so. And it's hard to tell if this one's gonna be better until I actually upload the video, so we'll just see whatever's better. They should both be better than the first one anyways. But yeah, just wanted to say that. Sucks that the first 4 episodes are messed up. But you know me, I'm terrible at checking stuff. Bad habit we have to break out of eventually. But yeah, last time, got some more Shion interactions and a Shion hint. Still don't know what to make out of it. I'm not gonna try too hard to figure it out right now. And I'll try harder, like, once we finish it if they don't give us the answer. I was just thinking before, like, is it possible that, like, Neon in the first game was, like, if there was, like, two different... The train interrupted my thoughts, but if there was, like, two people switching and acting as Neon, but I couldn't really remember any moments that seemed like that, except for, like, the very end when, Neon and Rena were trying to inject Keiichi with the drug. She seemed a lot different, but it doesn't really answer the question, I guess, unless one of them, I'm sure one of them has a really, unless one of them is like really evil or something, but I don't know. We'll deal with it later. Anything else that happened? We learned that the Watanagashi's upcoming this week, which means that spooky stuff might be happening sooner than I thought. Definitely not as lot of fun times as the last one. But we'll see. Anyways. This is right after gym class, I think. If I remember. The Latadazato? I hate that word. You're doodling right already. Latadazato. I mean, I can guess what it means, but I swear, sometimes these translators use the weirdest words.
Lackadaisical.
Lackadaisical. Lacking enthusiasm and determination.
Lackadaisical.
There you go. Lackadaisical. The lackadaisical noontime ended up giving way to mind-numbing afternoon classes. Rebounding from yesterday's hunger, I ate too much for lunch today, leaving me in a horrible condition.
さすがに食いすぎた。午後の授業は答える。
ケイチ君、今日はなんだかすごい食欲だったもんね。基本的にいつも大食いだけどさ、今日はなんか格別だったね。
昨日は俺昼飯抜きだったろ。そのひもじさが染みついちゃってさ。今度は逆にいくら食っても食欲が底なしっていうか。わ
かるよわかるよ。しかしケイちゃんってさ、いつもお弁当きれいに食べるよね。ご飯一粒も残さないっていうか。
食べ物ってのは作ってくれた人に感謝して食べるもんだぜ。残したら苦労して作ってくれた人に失礼だろ。
It's true, though I don't think you need to eat like every grain of rice. I feel like if you eat most of it, they'll be happy. Hearing that, Mian's eyes momentarily widened in surprise, followed by a cool laugh.
ケイちゃんってさ、ぱっと見ワイルドでいい加減そうなんだけど、結構律儀だよね。しつけがいいというか。あ、うん、それはレナも思うな。ケイチ君って見かけよりずっと優しい人だよ。
Thanks, I guess. Both of them were probably trying to compliment me, but I had a strange feeling I wasn't being complimented at all. It's kind of a half-half thing.
そんなことないって。見かけと中身は大違いってそう言いたいんだよ。
It still feels weird how they can just read your mind. I wonder if there's like some deeper meaning to that. If it's not just Keiichi being like super transparent. because it's really weird how like just exact how they get the exact thoughts every time, especially with this chapter. It's happening like a lot more than the last.
それが褒めてねって言ってんだよ。
Too loud. Yeah. Hi, Chi.
園崎さん、前原くん、授業中ですよ。園崎さんはどこまで進みましたか？ノートを持ってきてください。
Not scolding Rena. Started out, Mion vocalized a rather easy to understand utterance. She was so enthralled in the conversation, she had stopped working completely.
まあそこそこに。
Doing alright.
さっきから全然進んでないじゃないですか。最上級生なんだからもっとしっかりしないといけませんよ。
That Mion, it looks like she's getting lectured. Poor bastard.
人は見かけによらないっていうことだね。
I mean, that's a good lesson for this, or for solving a mystery in general.
むしろ見かけとは逆が誠かもしれないよ。
This is very meta.
面白いこと言うじゃないか。
Does that mean Satoko's the mastermind all along? Because to me, she seems like the least likely to be involved in anything. Responding to Rena's seemingly profound statement, I turned my gaze to where Satoko was happily studying together with Rika-chan.
あの生意気盛りの佐藤君実は
Oh,
見かけとは
well,
逆に
different
すげえ
thing.
塩らしいってのかよ。
Eh? If I went by what Rena literally said, then that would be the case. I could hardly imagine Satoko being meek and gentle, like a girl in some fairy tale.
最近はあんな感じだけど、ちょっと前までは違ったんだよ。 すごい
Really?
甘えん坊で、いつも。さとこちゃんには内緒ね。
Well, she still acts pretty spoiled, I would say.
あの佐藤君が甘えん坊？
For Satoko to play coy, I think that would have been some part of calculated plot. Even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attached to them. But since it came up, I tried to imagine a gentle and... Another word. I'm gonna doodle all of the words now, just to increase my vocabulary. Coquette. I don't even know what this could mean. Coquette. How do you spell this? Coquettish.
Coquettish.
Coquettish. Behaving in such a way as to suggest a playful sexual attraction. What? What are you saying, Keiji? I tried to imagine a gentle and coquettish Satoko. I don't know if that's the right word to use. A playful sexual attraction. I don't think any kid's doing that. Hello? Don't do spooky
おい
winds.
佐藤。
Uh-oh.
何ですの？
Oh, it's in his head. Satoko smiled cutely and walked towards me. By the way, for every 3 steps forward Satoko took, for some reason I took 3 steps away.
お兄様、なんで逃げますの？
Did they? She doesn't have a snaggle tooth normally, right? Is that just in Keiichi's head?
すまん佐藤。お前が愛想笑いして近づいてくると何かの罠のような気がするんだよ。
Bully.
ひどいですわ。お兄様の意地悪。
ごめん。別に悪気があったわけじゃないんだ。
I'd be really surprised if she did have that tooth. Now I'm trying to think back. I think he just added it in his imagination. The weeping Satoko came closer to me. I'm a sucker for tears. Click. Clank. Huh? A bear trap? My leg was being clamped down by a big jaded being clamped down on by jagged metal teeth. Even in his mind, he can't imagine her being cute. Or his definition of cute. Satoko raised her right arm triumphantly, and the traps began to trigger one after another. Suddenly the wall sprang forward, throwing me 3 blocks away. And there I saw a giant metal bat covered in spikes hurling towards me. On top of that, in the direction the ball would knock me, was a giant guillotine. Dude, I would love to see that, like, animated or on a pitch or like from a manga or something. That's hilarious. Not at all. How? How can you get that from his face? Yeah, how can my expression convey what I was thinking like that? Oh boy. Next, I look over at Rita-chan, who is working diligently on some kanji drills. In contrast to Satoko, her default state was meek and gentle. If Rita-chan came at me saying Ani-sama, I'd hug her tightly. I could get used to that. I can actually imagine Rika being, again, more cunning. I mean, I already do think she's sly and cunning, but I don't know about Satoko. So, wow. Yeah. Saying that out loud, I felt a tinge of doubt. Was Rika-chan really all sweet? Despite her appearance, she was really quite sly. Sweetly, how do you put it, evading things deftly? Yeah, for sure. I couldn't put exactly what I was imagining into words, but Rena managed to say what I wanted to. She turned to me with an impish look in her eyes, like she was saying, "Aha, you shouldn't say something like that." Excuse me. I can see that. Rena said that lightheartedly, but I, as a man, couldn't laugh at that. The scary part about that was that it felt like it could be true. Yeah, I could actually see that. Noticing my gaze, Rika-chan turned towards me and let loose with an angelic smile. Both Rena and I, feeling as if that was directed towards us personally, had our hearts skip a beat. Appearances can be deceiving, huh? Well then, what about our dear leader Mion? I stared at her as she tried to weasel her way out of her scolding by the teacher. By Rena's theory that unrefined, calculating, conniving, brutal? This might get annoying, but if I learn them now, I won't have questions about it later. Given to or involved in conspiracy to do something immoral, illegal, or harmful.
Conniving.
Conniving! Oh, I definitely heard that word. Just couldn't see it in the spelling. Conniving Mion also had her that belied appearances. I mean, if we go with the Shion is Mion thing, then that's just Shion, right? Well, I don't think she's a bad person from her appearance. I mean, I guess kind of. She is conniving and stuff. Catching on that I was struggling to express my feelings as words, Rena smiled even more brightly.
わかるって何がだよ。
みーちゃんって不思議でしょ。女の子なんだけど男の子みたいっていうか。
Yeah, tomboyish. That's right. Mian was more than aware that she was a girl, but it was exactly as Rena said. When Mian livened up the mood, it wasn't as though she felt like a guy or a girl specifically, but as a friend of the same
あ
gender.
いつが男だったらきっと意気投合するだろうな。そりゃ今と同じか。
でもね、そんなみーちゃんも本当はすっごく女の子らしいんだよ。
Well, I do remember the scene where Keiichi gave the doll to Rena because he thought that Rena would enjoy it more than Mion because it's not really Mion's thing because she's not that feminine and she looked really sad. So I can see her at least wanting to be more feminine
レナ、
or showing it more.
お前ミオンにいくらもらったんだ。
Keiichi, that's like low-key kind of mean.
もうちゃんとした話をしてるんだよ。だよ。
Rena began to pout. Now probably wasn't the right time to joke around.
みーちゃんは部活の部長さんだからみんなのリーダーとして頑張ってるけど、本当はとっても可愛い女の子なんだよ。それ特に圭一くんには忘れてほしくないな。
Rena's gaze focused off into the distance beyond where Mion was. The Mion that I met at Angel Mort was unimaginably different compared to the Mion that I normally knew. Flustered and hesitant from the unfamiliar job, it was a far cry from the brash and confident Mion. Even though she had to hurry to work, she went through all the trouble to bring me food when I was on the brink of starvation. And she did so not as Mion but as Shion. What exactly was Shion to Mion? What kind of person was Mion exactly?
多分圭一くんには想像つかないと思うな。思うな。
Stop reading my mind. It's creepy. As if to say that it was her little secret, Rena held her finger up to her lips as she diddled. Mion, finally free from the teacher's preaching, returned to her seat, cradling her head to hide her embarrassment. What's up?
さんはね、人生に必要な勉強は小学校までで十分だと思ってんだよ。
Hey. Saying that, she plopped down into her seat violently. Mion was actually really feminine. Right. I wonder if I can meet Shion again. I wanted to talk to her again. And then I'd feel bad for Mion again if Shion was a different person. And like Keiichi starts to like her over Mion. Feels bad, man. The principal waved around the bell that served as the school chime. The teacher rushed back to her blackboard and began to list everybody's homework assignments.
今日は宿題が結構出そうだね。
Uh-oh.
頑張らないと。
Gotta buckle down.
じゃあさ、レナもってことか。
何がかな。
No, don't talk about it.
人は見かけによらないって話。レナもってことになるのか。
え？圭一くんにはレナのことどう見えるかな。かな。
I was gonna talk about this later at the end, but I do feel like throughout this chapter anyways, Rena feels a lot more fake to me. Except for the cute modes, like those are still feels pretty real, but everything else feels like more of a mask than anything. That's why I was thinking that maybe Mion could have the split personality if someone had to have it, and a lot of Renas could just be like different like faces, and maybe really inside she is kind of evil. But I'm not sure exactly. She just feels more sketchy in this for some reason. Despite us not even questioning about the murders and stuff, she seems like really sketchy for some reason. The Rena Ryugu that I knew sometimes took things too far, but was generally a kind and gentle, ideal girl.
本当に？本当に？だったら嬉しい
If she was the opposite of what she seemed, that would make her
逆なのだとしたら
pure evil.
うー
Stop, this is making me uncomfortable. Just try to say it, I won't be mad. That's what I felt she meant.
レナは
うんレナは
You-
逆になってもレナだよ。
The question shouldn't have been so nerve-wracking to answer. Maybe it was because the person in question was staring at me, but like even the talking about appearances are deceiving seemed like really not Rena like from the first chapter anyways. Even saying that took a strange amount of effort.
ずるいなケイチくんそんな言い方されちゃったら気になっちゃうよはお
Perhaps unable to endure my silence, Rena's face began to burn red with embarrassment.
レナケイちゃん帰ろ帰ろ
Mion walked over and started to get ready to go home. Whenever school is over, she really does get noticeably more energetic. I think most kids do. It was the same relaxing walk home as always. Digging around my pocket on a whim, I noticed something that should have been there was missing.
どうしたのケイちゃん
Keys?
いつも持ってるはずのうちの鍵じゃないんだよ。参ったな。どこにやっちゃったかな。
Maybe when you're lying down sleeping, it fell out of your pocket.
親はいるから今日はいいけど、まずいよな。
Yeah, let's not lose our keys. You know, just for when spooky stuff happens, we probably wanna be able to get into our house.
それは困るね
Oh, what if someone took it? That's even worse. And they can sneak into our house. Oh no. I just thought that's a lot worse. Especially someone could just snatch it while he's sleeping. Or if he did drop it, someone can take it off the ground too. Either way, it's kind of bad. That happens.
それとも落としちゃったのかな
Which one was it? Did I take it with me this morning in the first place? Huh?
ケイちゃんその鍵の特徴は
Keychain.
キーホルダーがついてる。昔夏休みの宿題で作らされたやつで。
Aw.
青いなんだよ。
Remember that? That was what Taichi gave to Rena for when they were doing the Watanagashi festival game competition marathon thing to win the cute contest.
あれ目をつぶった感じでお昼寝してるみたいなやつ
なんで知ってるんだよ。そうそう、それだよ。
Mion looked away and began to whistle.
さおとといケイちゃんエンジェルモートに食事に
Oh, he left it there? That was a while ago if he left it there.
お店で鍵の落とし物があったんだよ
See, like, how would Mion know this? If it was... If they're different people, why would Mion know, like, these small details? Like, I don't think Shion would mention that to Mion, right?
それにオットセイのキーホルダー
It's so weird. It's making me... As she said that, she suddenly grew flustered and added that Shion had told her about it. I don't know. There's way more evidence pointing that Shion is Mion or whatever, vice versa. But it just feels like a weird bait to me.
あの時に落としちゃったのか。
It's so long ago, and he just noticed it now.
でも見つかってよかったねお店がきっと預かってくれてるよ
そうだね行ってみなよシオンの顔私と同じだからわかるでしょ
This was a rather unexpected development. Once again, I had no choice but to go and meet with Shion. But I also had to thank her for the bento from yesterday. Besides, taking some time and chatting with this other side of Mion might be interesting. Half jokingly, I began to think about things like
そう
this.
だな。エンジェルモートだっけ。シオンの店に行って鍵を返してもらって、ついでにお茶でも飲んで優雅に過ごせてるのも悪くないな。
なんだか英国紳士みたいだね。ケイちゃんには似合わないかも。
ひょっとしてそのお店かな。兄ちゃんの妹の働いてるお店は。
ああ、なんならレナも一緒に行くか。
Ooh, that's gonna be interesting.
ちょっと残念だけど、
Ah, never
今日
mind.
お父さんと約束があるから。
You have a father? No, I'm joking. Because I just remember we went to Rena's house, but they skipped it, so we didn't meet her parents. Which I kind of wanted. Well, I want to meet all the parents of the club members, well, except obviously Rita's and Satoko's, since they're either disappearing or dead.
双子だそうだけど、そんなにそっくりなのかな。
I thought I slipped something by accident.
間違えるくらい？
From sight alone, yeah, but their voices are slightly different.
外見だけはそっくりだ。中身はミオンと違っておしとやかで実に可愛らしいのにな。
Don't bully Mion. In response to my teasing, Mion pouted and began to argue with me. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at Mion's little farce. After all, they weren't just identical, they were the same person. I like how Keiichi just doesn't doubt that they might be two different people. I don't know why he's so confident. I mean, obviously all the evidence we've seen, like, they could be the same person, but he, like, just thought that as soon as he met her, almost. After going home, I changed my clothes and dumped my bike out of the garage. Just thinking that I would be able to meet Shion again gave me a mysterious feeling. Shion, a name for a different kind of Mion. She was a mysterious and ridiculous person, believing she had fooled everyone like that. I noticed that I was pedaling along quite happily. Could it be that I was looking forward to meeting Shion? Oh, Keiichi's falling in love. I felt a sense of giddy anticipation, like I was headed towards a new friend's house for the first time. What Rena said about Mion Achi being really feminine sprang to mind once again. The guilt from spying on another side of Mion, the self-consciousness from being the only one that knew about that side, these feelings mixed together. That was Shion for you, Mion's little twin sister. Until she felt like coming out and admitting she was Mion, it was fine to just call her Shion, right? Mion might be trying to have some fun by acting out a different persona. As I reached the top of the steep hill, the horizon expanded before me. I was almost at the station. The last time I wasn't embarrassed since I was here with Dad, but this time I was alone. I was strangely self-conscious about that. A little embarrassing. But maybe it shouldn't be. Meet Shion, get my key back. That was all this task was supposed to be. If I dawdled around like this, maybe Shion would find me before she headed in for work. Hey, what are you doing, Keiichi, my bruh? You're just here to get your key back, you know? It's not like you're some love-struck schoolboy here to hand over a love letter. Ah, the thoughts inside my head were slowly turning into a jumbled mess. I came to the realization that I was downright giddy. That's why, for just a bit, just a tiny little bit, I got a little carried away and did something really stupid. I tipped over a parked motorcycle that was blocking the sidewalk. Uh-oh, are we about to beef with someone? It was in the way, sure, but there was absolutely no way for me to kick it. I mean, it was parked on the sidewalk. That's pretty rude and illegal, but still. I definitely think I got too carried away. Thunk clink. Shit. Just ruin a motorcycle. Uh-oh. As the three bites toppled one after another like dominoes, loud noises they caused snapped me back to my senses. Run! It's a delinquent! Uh-oh. The owners of the three bites were right there. They're right in front of them. It's over. They looked exactly like what you call thuds up to no good. They lifted their heads up in an imposing manner and yelled angrily in a way I had never heard before. The three of them beelined towards me, their worn-down heels of their thin-soled shoes slapping noisily against the pavement. I could only stare listlessly, as if I were watching some far-off event that didn't concern me at all. By the time I realized it, I had been grabbed by the collar and lifted onto my tiptoes. The three thuds were completely ignoring the rules of grammar, but the way they spoke was enough to make me tremble. Just like that, my composure drained away, my lids buckled, and my throat grew dry enough to crack.
すみませんついじゃねえだろ
Accident.
ケツはねえかよボケ
I was completely at fault, so there's nothing I could say in my defense. It's true, it is your fault. Though they shouldn't have been there in the first place. As a result, I was pulled even higher. Yo, just blame someone. The three of them continued to yell at me. I had no idea what each of them were saying. Getting further enraged that I was only listening while dumbstruck, they grabbed an empty plastic crate from a nearby store and began to smash it repeatedly against a telephone pole. Holy shit. It's time to run. Crowds formed in the crate, plastic shards flying everywhere. They then slammed it full force into the shuttered storefront. Smash. The shutter let out a frighteningly loud noise. Still not satisfied, they flipped over a case of empty cans, scattering its contents all over the place. This was not normal. It was something you saw often on a television or in manga, but I never thought seeing it in person would be this terrifying. I became painfully aware that the safety of civilized society was only held up by such a frail concept as morals. My knees clattered together noisily. Static began to pepper my vision. This is what you call absolute terror. There was nothing I could do to stop this frightening spectacle of violence. I could only pray for help. The fear I felt was just too much. Would somebody help me? My gaze floundered about the surrounding area. I was surrounded by these three hoodlums. No way would there be a passerby brave enough to intervene. It's doomed. Unless we get saved by Mion, which is what I assume is gonna happen. Maybe this is what you call reaping what you sow. If I were a passerby, there would be no doubt that I'd ignore what was going on. So this was somewhat of a cosmic retribution. Fucking say something. Angry yelling loud enough to rattle my eardrums spewed forth right in front of my face. Angry yelling. Oops. My waning consciousness was forcefully dragged back to the forefront. The thud had caught back his free hand and twisted his body when suddenly a metallic taste filtered through the back of my throat. A chill ran down my spine like a jolt of electricity. Seeing what was going to happen next, I squeezed my eyes shut as tightly as possible, and grit my teeth. Or Shion. Yeah, I meant Shion, not Mion. See, now even I'm getting confused. The voice was a short distance away. Still holding me by the collar, the three thuds spun around to look behind them. It's a shot. See, maybe. Oh my god! Didn't Mion say that that she was like the nice one and Shion was the evil one? Like maybe Shion is like really the evil one. Though I don't know where I'm going with this. It doesn't matter yet. That's a shot though. Even though it kind of looks. Wait a minute! This is the first time we get to see Keiichi in a CG. I'm not gonna lie, I might have saw a picture of him in that anime form back in the early days of the Higurashi thing, while I actually looked for thumbnails on the internet or whatever for the update stuff. But it's the first Keiichi shot. Nice to see you, bud. And Mion looks Ursh. Shion looks pissed. Standing there was Shion. I mean Mion. She stood there, displaying an imposing stature that I had never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during club. Those were the eyes that would instill fear in anyone who looked upon them, the eyes of a raptor. They were the epitome of terror. At the same time, they were the most reassuring thing in the world.
もう一度だけ言うよ
The epitome of terror, huh?
ケイちゃん話してとっとと失せな
Mion, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course, there's no way those three wouldn't go absolutely berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. Why are they so British? Stop it, Mion. These guys are like rabid dogs. No amount of bluffing will work.
ミオン危ないから早く
I knew what I was saying was pathetic, but I couldn't let Mion get involved in this. No matter how you looked at it, Mion was only bluffing. But did Mion even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing in number, little by little. The boys? The Sonozaki guards? Or no, maybe it's just... At first it was only businessmen on their way home stopping to take a look. Then it was housewives in the middle of the shopping taking a gander. That's what it seemed like. The owner of some store showed up, and it was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Around me, and there were already 7 people gathered. It felt different than people coming out to support a friend. If I had to say why, it was because the group was diverse in age and gender. The 3 thuds seemed to slowly realize that there was something strange about the situation. Yo, it's this Sonozaki family influence. Or the cult. Behind them, at some point, 4 more people of different clothes and ages had gathered. A girl who looked to be in middle school, a man wearing a bakery apron, an old lady in a house cleaning smock. More and more, people of various ages. Their gazes comparable to Mion's were of hostility, of intimidation. Before I realized it, over 10 people had formed a ring around us. At that moment, 5 elementary schoolers ran in and joined the circle. There were some familiar faces, some of our classmates. Then these people were residents of Hinamizawa? Dude, this is some cult shit. This has to be, right? And I did say the Sonozakis would probably be like a lead, would either be leading it or be like a leading force around it. More and more people from Hinamizawa gathered around. In obvious contrast, the residents of Okinomiya were passing by as quickly as possible. It just to show if they are all Hinamizawa people, they don't really consider Taichi a true villager yet, which is like one of the things he was talking about in chapter 1. The group surrounding us had suddenly swelled to around 20 people. Completely encircled, the faces of the thugs began to show the first signs of panic. It's pretty creepy. Nobody spoke a word, Mion included. That made everything completely unnatural, and depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. Only the thugs' voice echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everybody else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together, back to back, while yelling angrily. Dude, it's crazy because elementary school students are doing this too, which is weird. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help. It was sudden. A solidly built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared from inside the second vehicle. Mion, returning to her usual self, was nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course the thugs were furious, but now that it had come to this, there was nothing they could do. It was their loss. The officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them towards the patrol cars. No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In the blink of an eye, they were crammed inside the two vehicles. They could still be heard yelling while inside the police cars, but what they were saying was no longer intelligible. It's your boy. It's been a while, Uishi. He was probably a detective. The man leading the police peered at my face. Okay, so this confirms that this is definitely a different. Because I was questioning like if the events of Anitakashi that we kind of skipped through happened, but if he's meeting Uishi right now, then it's completely different, right? Because he met Uishi first in the car after the Watanagashi. The portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd. The Rie Shion talk didn't have a very pleasant tone. I was about to say she was kind of pissed. Hey, what's up, guy? Did we have a spread for him? I feel like we did, but I'm not remembering. The detective named Uishi, after joyfully making pleasantries, lumbered over to the waiting police car. It quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly. So quickly I was dumbstruck. I didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. After making sure the police cars left, Mion snapped her fingers sharply. Whew. This jam, though. That was the signal. The tension melted away in an instant as everyone began smiling. A middle-aged man helped me up. Oh, they're making it seem not culty. I mean, I don't know. I guess it could be good intention too. It's a little, maybe Shion noticed it from before and gathered up everyone she saw from Hinamizawa. It's still weird though. I don't know. That's evidence, boys. That's potential evidence anyways, for the cult theory. Didn't he get like punched in the face? I think. Yeah. It doesn't have. I don't know. Maybe I was thinking too badly of it, though. It was really creepy that they were all just like standing without saying anything. Did I miss anything? An older lady I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury.
だから。まったく。
I was even warned by the old lady in the smock. As Shion finished up applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me.
いやいや、ケイちゃんもやるじゃない。でも私も相手を選んだ方がいいと思いますけどね。
サンキューなミオ、助かったよ。
Shion.
だから私、シオン。
She made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze downwards, blushing in embarrassment.
お姉に聞いてますよ。オットセイのカニ。あれ、ケイちゃんのですって？
See? I mean, at least Mion was lying that they don't talk often, since they literally talk like every day, at least, about like details of their life, if they are two people.
これからお店に行こうとしてたんだった。
それで浮かれてて、あんな変なのに絡まれちゃってたんですか？
Now it's my turn to for my face to go red. I didn't want to admit that she was spot on.
まあ、ついてなかったよ。でも、シオンのおかげで助かった。
お礼はいらないですよ。だから、ケイちゃんも他の人がいじめられてるのを見つけたら、きっと私たちそういうのをとても大切にするから。
I was well versed in the sense of camaraderie. I don't know if that's how you say it, but you know that word. But the way I was rescued just now, something seemed a little off about that. While I was helping out, it was honestly to an almost disturbing degree.
お店来ますよね。疲れちゃっただろう。
Yeah, it was
しません？
creepy.
おごりますよ。
Wouldn't be surprised to find those delinquents dead later. Seems that she caught the glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Shion began walking. That's a break. Or is this the chapter? Might as well read the hints. No, it's not the end of the chapter though. So yeah, we're done. This was a good chapter. The whole thing with Rena, again, I think she's a lot more. It's so weird that it feels like she's sketchy when she's not actually being. Like in the first chapter, there's just moments where she was overtly like being really sketchy, but now like, there's just something weird about her. Like she feels like she's like leading too much in most of the scenes. I don't know. And this was also pretty creepy. I tend to just imagine like 20 of the villagers with like the same eyes as Mion being super pissed. Because they did, in the first one, there was a scene where Kichi was attacked by the dump. And like he did notice that the villagers had like super angry eyes. And obviously this isn't like their original graphics, but they showed like the angry eyes they showed when Mion got super angry. So that might be a thing, I don't know. And like the fact that Shion snapped her fingers, like obviously that could just be a sign that it was that trouble was gone, but it could also be something else, like maybe a controlling sort of thing. I don't know. Anyway, it was interesting. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. It was fun. This next time we'll get more Shion. It's been pretty interesting so far. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Again, bye!